Welcome into this early edition of the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. I'm Jay Zawoski with Greg Boyson and Mario Tirabassi. Hope your Thursday is going wonderfully. It is a beautiful day in Chicago, so get outside after the show's over. Do that. Make sure you smash that like button for us on the YouTube page, like our YouTube channel, subscribe, all that great stuff. Podcast listeners, subscribe, follow wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify. You can do both. Mm-hmm. Whatever you've got, we'll take it. 5-star reviews are great.
What was it? What was the website we were creating? Podcastmachine.org or something like that?
Podwack.org.
Podwack. Podwack.gov.
That should be our page.
There you go.
Podwack.
There. No one take that. Just like we created Mailbag Monday, we created podwack.org. Speaking of Mailbag Monday, we still have 2 questions
leftovers
that we're going to get to. We'll finish those off at the end of the show. Tons to get to there, but we saw an article in The Athletic, and by the way, tweeted the show link today from the show account, and Mike Archibald on Twitter, bit of a call-out. He says, I know the offseason is slow, but I get a chuckle knowing what's on the agenda when an article from The Athletic drops. First of all, Mike, it's not just The Athletic we steal from.
Yes.
Second of all, it is August 10th.
Feel free to give us an idea of what to talk about, Michael.
We do 5 shows a week, dude.
Why do you think we're answering Mailbag Monday questions on Thursday?
Exactly.
Give me a break, man. You produce 5 hours of hockey content in freaking August.
Yeah, I think he was saying it with a smile. But,
no, I take that in jest.
I texted our buddy Charlie Romeliotis yesterday and asked him why he fired James Naveau as a joke. And he said, we were just shooting a shit, and he said, I don't know how you guys do 5 shows a week. I said, neither do I.
Neither do we.
We're still trying to figure out how.
It's like I said at the end of yesterday's show. We'll come up with something in 23 hours.
Yeah.
Give it one cycle, and we'll figure something out.
You know, last offseason we were blessed with a lot of news, and so far this offseason, you know, we've had some very newsworthy things come across. You know, some good, some really bad, but you know. You take it as it comes, and
I almost would rather have this type of summer, though, where it's just like, well, maybe something will happen, maybe not necessarily newsy every day. Last summer was like summer of speculation.
Yeah.
You know, what's going to happen with Taves? What's going to happen with Kane? Are they going to trade? Are they going to stay? Are they going to retire? Who's pissed at who? Like, that's exhausting.
Now the stuff we're doing is fun because we're talking about the future. We're talking about Connor Bedard and all the aspects there, and that's actually
what's
where we're
possible.
Yeah. Quiet off seasons usually means things are going well.
I would say so.
Right.
When you have no newsworthy items from June to September, things are going pretty good for your franchise. I think. Mm-hmm. I think. Yeah. You're not making a lot of roster changes. No one's getting fired. Let's have a really nice quiet. Well, next couple summers might be crazy come free agent time, and
we'll still be bored in August. I would think.
Yeah.
August is the worst month of the.
It's tough
of the
year.
But
we're closer to September, which means we're closer to the month where hockey begins, including training camp and all that great stuff. So
according to our chat, it looks like Caleb Jones is heading to the Hurricanes.
Ooh.
Interesting.
See? News.
There we go.
Our normal
Quick,
24
change the headlines.
Our normal 24-hour cycle.
Yes.
It would have worked.
The Hurricanes thought we started at 2. They didn't know the schedule change. Had this been a normal day, that would be the topic of our show. See how this works?
Are we going to get the old this happened to a team, not the Blackhawks, so all of a sudden Caleb Jones is great? Like it happened with Oli Matas?
Well, it's the Hurricanes.
The Hurricanes.
So what a signing. What a brilliant move.
He's going to have Seth Jones is going to have the worst contract in his show. Caleb's going to have the best.
Well, it's just over league minimum. And he's certainly worth more than that. Look, and this is a good opportunity for Caleb to showcase himself on a good team, maybe find a permanent role in their top 6.
Can he crack their top 6?
That's the question. That's the question. And that's, I mean.
They're saying they're still trying to trade Pesci. And that's going to.
But you're not going to get Carlson, so why? Is his contract bad?
Here's their.
Am I missing something?
Well, Aho's extension kicks in. They still got to give.
Yeah.
Somebody else is due for a pay raise.
Aho's kicks in next year.
Right.
Is Svechnikov due an extension?
No, and Pesci's a free agent after this year, so that's not.
All right.
So here's what you got defensively for the, not including Caleb Jones: Dmitry Orlov, Jacob Slavin, Brent Burns, Brady Shea, Brett Pesci, Tony DeAngelo, Pudwag, Dylan Coughlin, and Jalen Chatfield.
No,
there's your 8.
He doesn't crack that top 6.
Yeah, he's gonna be. I was gonna say he's gonna be playing with the Wolves, but
they're
that's
not
a thing
affiliated
anymore.
anymore.
Yeah.
Is it this? It's not the Checkers again, right? Charlotte Checkers.
I don't know.
Because they went to Florida, I think it was.
Yes, they're the Florida team.
It's very hard to keep track of every year.
I don't know where. I think the Hurricanes are gonna have to loan their guys out to multiple teams. Maybe some of them are the Wolves. Maybe he will play for. I don't know.
Well, good for him, man. I'm happy he's got a deal.
I would rather have Caleb Jones on my blue line than Tony DeAngelo for a myriad of reasons.
Yes.
None of them have to do with Tony DeAngelo being a pudwhack. He's not a good hockey player.
Well, people seem to be convinced he is. I'm not as sold.
You know who else is a free agent after this season on the Hurricanes besides Brett Pesci? Tavo.
Bring him back. No, that's such a he who should not be name moved.
Yeah, but he's still good.
He'd still be worth it. I don't know.
I wouldn't be against it, but
we got still 3 weeks of August left.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got time.
I wouldn't be against that move, but for a 2-year deal, fine.
All right.
Because we can get into that leads into what we want to talk about. You don't want to sign these veterans these long-term deals.
Well, that's a good jumping off point, Greg.
29 before this season. He'll be 30 before the start of next season.
This will be a big deal. I imagine this will be a pretty sizable deal for Tavo when he becomes a free agent, whether it's in Carolina or elsewhere. He only makes 5.4. This will probably be his big contract.
I'd
with
imagine
term
so.
And with money, I would think.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I mean, since he's gotten to Carolina, his first year, 42 points in 81 games. Second season, 64 points in 82, 76 points in 82, 63 and 68. Then the 2020-2021 season, he was hurt, 15 points in 21 games. 2 seasons ago, 65 points in 77 games. Last year, I think he was still battling injuries. Again, 37 points in 68 games. But that's pretty consistent once he's developed into,
nearly
a more mature NHL player. Yeah.
Yeah, I just know if you're saying this is going to be his last big contract, I wouldn't, not the Hawks, I wouldn't give him 4, 5, 6 years. No.
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe 4. I think he's got 4 good years left. The injuries have been concerning, though.
5 years at $6.5 million.
And he's benefited from being on a line with Aho Svechnikov for a while. That helps.
Well, if he came here, he'd have a pretty good line mate, too, I would think.
I would think he would probably play with Connor Bedard.
him and Colin Blackwell would be awesome together.
Hey, I always compare Reichel to Teravainen.
Yeah.
A young Teravainen.
Yeah. So then we don't need older Teravainen. We've got young
maybe
Teravainen.
They play together. Two Teravainens, young Teravainen and old Teravainen.
2 Teravainens, wow.
Well, we all know if you have a young
and
version
who plays
of
between 2 Tavos?
You need an old version to come in and teach them. That's the thing. And
there it is.
That sort of leads us into our what we're going to talk about today. Alan Mitchell, who covers the Oilers for The Athletic, published a piece today saying what the Blackhawks can learn from the Oilers about winning with a generational talent. And he kind of goes through everything the Oilers did wrong.
Which was everything.
Which was a lot.
A lot.
And
first move, hiring Peter Chiarelli right after. That was what are you doing?
So he goes through kind of item by item. And I think as we go through this list, I'm not going to read the whole thing because he did the work. You can find it at theathletic.com, obviously. But I'm going to kind of go item by item. And I think when we get to the end of this list, you're getting this again from the perspective of someone in Edmonton. I think Hawks fans are going to hear this and feel really good about how things are going. So here are the must-avoid areas for the Blackhawks organization, according to Alan Mitchell. Number 1, change everywhere doesn't work. On April 18th, 2015, the Oilers won the draft lottery. 6 days later, Peter Chiarelli was introduced as the team's new GM. On May 19th, Todd McClellan was named a new head coach. On June 22nd, the Oilers fired scouting director Stu McGregor and pro scout Maury Gare. So you've got a whole bunch of change happening as your organization is taking on its most important piece.
That would have been right before that draft, too, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah, it
right?
was right after the draft. It was in between the lottery and the draft.
Yeah.
Yep.
A team yeeting their scouting head of their scouting department before the draft is an interesting choice.
Yeah, and it cost him dearly with the trade from that draft, as he mentions. But it seemed to me that the Oilers went from like, okay, we're getting Connor McDavid, we got to go and win right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Or we got to get good right away.
We got to get the general manager that has a Stanley Cup on his resume, and we're contenders now. We have Connor McDavid, and that didn't work.
No, it did not. So the Hawks, on the other hand, Kyle Davidson's been in charge since 2021. He knows the organization. He knows the scouts. Luke Richardson's been ingrained for a year. So check that box. Hawks have done that right. They didn't freak out and go hire Mike Babcock because Connor Bedard was coming in. Good move. Number 2, get everyone on the same page. One of the issues the Oilers ran into was player assessment. Time and time again, the GM would procure a talent thought to be NHL ready, only to find Coach McClellan uneasy with the idea of turning a young, unproven youngster into an NHL regular. Classic example is Jesse Puljujarvi.
That
They
sounds
had
familiar.
Jordan Eberle, Chris Versteeg, Zach Cassian then. Chiarelli wanted Puljujarvi to play. McClellan did not. Puljujarvi struggled and continues to struggle in his NHL career.
Yeah.
So coaches, GM on the same page seems to be.
And
so
we've had
far.
experience with coaches and GMs with this team not on the same page.
Yeah.
And how that's worked out, how, a GM wants to shoehorn a prospect into a position before they're ready, and development gets stunted, and a player is in a spot where they're not put to succeed. Comes to mind Ian Mitchell. Former GM wanted Ian Mitchell to be a thing in the NHL, be a guy in the NHL, way earlier than I think he was actually ready for. And I think also, too, as we'll, a point that that's made in the article is that was also a misevaluation. Like, that was a guy who maybe the ceiling wasn't as high as those eyes perceived it to be.
Yeah. No, there's plenty of examples of that. Ian Mitchell, Dylan Secura was one of those guys.
Adam Boquist. Kirby Doc.
Henry Jokiharju came up way too early and then given up way too early.
Yep.
Plenty of examples. Like, the Dylan Secura thing was so odd. Where it was like he was, a fifth rounder?
Sixth round, I think.
And then all of a sudden, one summer, that's all we were hearing about. Dylan Secura. And they tried so hard to make him a thing. And he was real good for the Ice Hogs.
It doesn't even matter.
And I like Dylan Secura as a guy, really nice guy. Talked to him a lot in Rockford. Dylan Secura's biggest problem was when he got to the face-off dot, he wouldn't go any closer. He stopped. It was like an electric fence with a dog collar.
Yeah.
As soon as he hit the face-off dot, he'd stop. He wouldn't get any closer. He just wanted to be a perimeter player. That can work in the AHL.
Yeah.
And in college.
Get you 30 goals in the AHL and college. NHL, you got to go between the dots.
Well, it's good from the Hawks' perspective that the GM seems to be the most patient one.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, I'm not rushing anybody. No one's going to come up here. And we've been talking about it. We talked about it with Chris Peters about Kevin Korchinski and what the plan might be. And if we know anything about Kyle Davidson, they're going to be really conservative with that. They're not going to rush him by any means. And if they see anything in his game where they say, not so sure, it's back to Seattle with him. And just let him go dominate and do what he can do. And I know it's not ideal. You'd rather have him in Rockford, but you can't. So instead of him floundering, especially with defensemen.
Yeah. It's not fun to have your brand new toy stay in the box, but you'd rather Korchinski, when he gets here, be ready to go. Like, you don't want to see any I mean, you're going to see growing pains, but you don't want to see a guy looking like he doesn't belong out there, but forced to be out there because he's here. So, yeah, I agree with Chris. I still agree that I'd still lean towards be patient with him. Maybe he plays more than 9 games. Fine. But if he's playing all 82, which I don't foresee happening, but if he is, it's going to have to be because he has no doubt proven at 19 years old he can do it and he's ready to shoulder that responsibility.
Yeah, and I think that will be the case. He'll play the full season if he shows he can.
Yeah.
They're not going to just put him out there saying, well, we don't want to send you back to the WHL, so go get him, slugger. No, it's good. He'll stay beyond the 9 games only if he's shown without a shadow of a doubt he can do it.
Well, and you let him go be a massive part of Team Canada's World Junior Championship, too.
Yeah, that's why I say, I don't think he's going to be here for all 82 games because he's at least going to go do that.
Yeah, you could keep him here and then in December release him to go to Team Canada.
And it's time to go back to Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to get into it a little more with Chris Peters on the Kevin Korchinski, but, we were just running short on time. But I think having Luke Richardson and Kevin Dean here make it different. Would make a difference as opposed to when we've had some of the other young defensemen get up here and those two guys are going to know how to nurture him and shelter him when need be and get him in positions to succeed. Not just throw him out there on the top pairing and say, all right, let's see what you got. They're not going to give him anything he can't handle.
Yeah, and I think when we look at it from a Davidson perspective too, I think what he did after learning he won the draft lottery in terms of player acquisition, he did not stray from what he did last year. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The only difference is Taylor Hall. But that makes all the sense in the world to have somebody that can play with Bedard and handle themselves.
Right. But it's a short term.
And it's still short term. It's 2 years.
And even Taylor Hall is pretty close to equivalent to bringing in a guy like Max Domi.
Yeah.
Bringing in Andres Athanasiou.
Second,
Hall's a little bit higher, but still
a second
pretty close.
Guy.
Yeah.
He's not. It's not like trading for Taylor Hall when
6-7 years ago. Yeah.
And then he won a Hart Trophy, the following year.
Right. But my point being, if it wasn't clear, is that Davidson has not suddenly changed course because Bedard's here.
Right.
No.
Right. He's
not trading for Erik Karlsson. He's not giving up prospects to get veterans.
Yeah.
He's bringing in guys that fit his time frame and serve a purpose.
Yeah.
He didn't trade this year's extra draft first round pick.
They mentioned in the article that that same Connor McDavid draft, they traded the 16th and 33rd pick for Griffin Reinhart, who was a stiff.
Yeah.
But because one of the new guys they brought in was his coach or something when he was in the WHL, I said, I love this kid. This kid was great 4 years ago when he was playing against 16-year-olds.
Right.
And that 16th pick was Matthew Barzal. Could you imagine getting Connor McDavid and Matthew Barzal in the same draft?
That would have been pretty good for the Oilers.
I mean, they probably would have drafted a defenseman because they were trading for a defenseman, but there were still some good defensemen that were out.
So that
there.
is the next thing here from the author. Pro scouts need to scout pros, like you mentioned. Edmonton said that draft after drafting McDavid, 16 and 33 to the Islanders for Griffin Reinhart. It was Barzal and Mitchell Stevens. Reinhart struggled, was not good. Not good in a pro, not a good enough skater. The deal was a disaster.
I covered him for his season with the Wolves. 4 years after that trade, he was playing with the Chicago Wolves.
So you mentioned the defenseman thing. Edmonton's amateur scouts were rumored to be focused on Joel Eriksson Ek and Brandon Carlo with those 2 picks. So maybe it wasn't Matthew Barzal, but still a really good player in that spot.
Yeah.
And better than Griffin Reinhart.
Both
that's
of those
for sure.
guys are light years ahead of Griffin Reinhart.
Some of the names available had the Oilers been at 16. Matt Barzal, Kyle Connor, Thomas Chabot, Joel Eriksson Ek, Brock Besser, Travis Konechny, Anthony Beauvillier. Into the second round, you got Travis Dermott, Sebastian Aho.
All these. Keep going. You're still better than Griffin Reinhart.
Brandon Carlo is there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
And as far as the immediacy of having to put players around Connor Bedard, that's what the Oilers did to try and they're like, oh, everybody has to be here now because McDavid's here. But with Bedard, you had him picked this year, then you got Oliver Moore in the first round too. So even if Oliver Moore is 2-3 years down the road, a 21-year-old Oliver Moore with a 21-year-old Connor McDavid or Connor Bedard, and both of them are like ready to go NHLers, that's great. You can work with that. And as Bedard and Frank Nazar and Kevin Korchinski and all these guys that we've been expecting to become that new group of NHLers, as they mature and become those full-time NHLers, that new core in Chicago, with what Davidson has done is make sure that there are enough potential future assets that it's not just going to be those guys. It'll be those guys for maybe 4, 5, 6 years, and then there will be another group of former first and second round and third round picks that'll be coming through and be like, wow, now Bedard is 25 and he's got this up and coming 20-year-old that was a first round pick or a second round pick that we're excited to see develop, and now there's a new young guy to come play with them. That's something that a lot of contending teams will mortgage that future to just be like, well, this is the group that we have now for the next 5 years, and that's what we're going to go with. Like with Davidson, it's the foresight to say, yeah, we can go with this group for a couple of years, but people need to come behind them to not only keep the window open now, but when that group of 5, 6, 7 guys ages out, there's another group behind them. So there's no potential for no lapse in time where you have to think retool, rebuild, burn it all down and start over. Like, the plan is to avoid that as much as possible.
Well, you could say that's where the dynasty ended when the Hawks stopped doing that, but the other problem was bad contracts cost them a lot of those guys that they were able to draft and develop, like Teuvo Teravainen, who we mentioned earlier, and Brandon Saad, and like as those, even looking now, like Alex DeBrincat, like guys that you drafted and developed that you couldn't keep for one reason or another due to mostly salary restraints. DeBrincat's different because you traded him for assets because you knew you weren't going to win anything while he was under contract, and you weren't willing to pay him the $9 million he's asking for, so you got assets for him. Fine, but I think when you see these trades for like 2026, you're like, it feels like unreal. It feels like forever from now. But over 24, 25, 26, they've got 5 first-round picks. They have 8 second-round picks and 4 third-round picks over those 3 years.
Yeah.
That is how you keep refreshing the system. And if Bedard's what you think he is, and Nazar and Moore and Reichel are what you think they are, and Korchinski's what you think he is, and on, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. And then hopefully when those decisions come, you've got someone ready to come up and fill in that hole from your organization instead of having to scramble and overpay for a free agent.
And those extra picks can also be currency. You don't want to pay for a big free agent. You can use one of those extra second, third, first round picks to go out and get a proven guy that's under contract for 2, 3, 4 years.
Or what they did with Perry and Foligno and Hall is you trade for their deals as their deals are expiring and you re-sign them.
Yeah.
Right.
Assets are never a bad thing. The next thing here is don't trade impact players on value deals. They go back to the Adam Larson for Taylor Hall trade. They needed a stay-at-home defenseman, so they traded Taylor Hall for Adam Larson. Look, Adam Larson's a nice player, but he's not a Taylor Hall level player, especially at the time that deal was made. And the Hawks don't really have anyone like that, but I think my first thought with that is Connor Murphy. Is you might be looking to fill that stay-at-home defenseman hole for a long time, especially on the right side, and you might be tempted to trade Connor Murphy, but he's right there, he's reliable, he's a leader. Hang on to people like that because of the value.
Yeah, currently they don't really have that issue where there's going to be anybody of significance that's signed long-term or that is signed to a contract that you're like, wow, they're getting a tremendous value out of that. But like you said, like avoiding the situation where it's like, well, we need to improve this position, so let's take away from something that's working fine to address another thing. It's just trying to plug holes with just, holes in the boat when you only got 2 fingers and there's too many, things to juggle at one time. You kind of just have to figure, like, if something needs addressing, don't address it to the detriment of something else, because then you're always going to have a problem to try and fix.
The old phrase that goes to that is don't rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah. You create one problem, you solve one problem by creating another.
Right.
Yeah. But again, we're talking about the Oilers, who are a team still to this day not very deep on the organizational depth chart.
Yeah.
So they had to do that, where I know none of these guys have come to fruition yet, but it's starting to appear that the Blackhawks are on the right track to have organizational depth, where if you need to trade an established player to get something you don't have, you could probably get away with that a little bit more if you have a young guy on an entry-level contract that can come in and produce right away at that position. Or you look at what the Hawks are doing, and they keep drafting in every position.
Yeah.
Like up until last year, it was like Blackhawks have a really good depth chart on the blue line prospect, but they don't have anything else. Outside of Lucas Reichel, there is nothing forward. It took 2 drafts to rectify that.
Yeah.
You still have the deep defensive prospect pool, but now you've gotten deep at forward. You've gotten deep at center, hopefully. You got some wingers. You're starting to add some size now. Next year's supposed to be a really good year for defensemen, so maybe you add a couple more defensive prospects in, knowing that, hey, they could be the next group 3-4 years from now that follow the group that's coming up now.
Yeah.
So just keep reloading. I mean, that so far so good. It may change as the Hawks start to compete. You may start giving up more of those draft picks to acquire deadline deals.
Yeah.
We saw it here during the Cup teams. But at that point, hopefully you're trading away, 28th overall, 31st overall, not 4th, 5th, 6th.
Right, yeah.
So it takes away the sting a little bit. But you still need to have those picks. You can't go 3-4 years without a first-round pick, because eventually you're just going to run out. Just let's see where the Lightning are here in a couple of years, and some of these other teams, the Vegas Golden Knights,
like the Bruins.
Yeah, the Bruins, the Penguins. They had Cup windows, but now they're going to be entering times. Eventually, all those teams are going to get into a time where it's going to get really lean and real dark.
Look, and I don't have a problem with what Boston and Tampa are doing, because they're like, look, this is our window.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
The point of being a hockey team is to win Stanley Cups. That is the primary focus of an NHL team. So if you truly feel your window's open, then go for it. It worked out for them with Brandon Hagel. They didn't win the Cup, but he was a really huge addition for them. Tanner Jeannot, not as well.
Yeah, right.
It hasn't worked out as well so far, but they're constantly going for it. And when Steven Stamkos is ready to retire and Victor Hedman's ready to retire, and then they're gonna suck for a while. But they're a good enough organization where they can pull themselves out of it pretty quickly.
Traded away almost 2 draft classes for Brandon Hagel and Tanner Jeannot.
Yeah.
It's who, again, nice players for what they're trying to accomplish now, but in 2027, when those 2 guys are on your top line and you got nothing else, it's going to be kind of ugly.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Next one is don't sign aging veterans to long, expensive deals, and they cite the Milan Lucic deal that was signed in 2016-17, 7 years, $42 million, a $6 million cap hit.
Everybody knew that deal sucked except for the 2 guys that signed. Let's say 1 guy that signed it. Lucic probably knew, I'm ripping you off, but I don't care.
Right.
I've hit this is my gravy train. This is my retirement fund. I'm good to go.
Everybody screwed up everything.
Yeah. Everybody, when that deal happened, laughed at it and said, what are you doing?
That was part of that free agency class of 2016, where it was like that summer, it was like every major free agent deal sucked.
Yeah.
Like there was no value on return from I think any of those deals, and Lucic was part of it. And
there's a lot of GMs getting themselves fired that summer.
Yeah. So and we've definitely had that experience here before. Kyle Davidson was on the staff of the former GM for a long time, and saw firsthand what handing out contracts to aging players who for the length of that contract, maybe only 2 of 7 years they're going to be productive for it. It's not worth it, and it puts you into really challenging situations with the cap, which even though the cap is expected to go up significantly in the next season or two, you still don't want to have to worry about playing with your hands tied behind your back because of salary cap issues. And there was an opportunity for him to, give Jonathan Toews a contract extension, give Patrick Kane a contract extension, keep them here. They're the faces of your franchise. Let them be Blackhawks for life. Give them 5, 6, 7-year deals to end their careers. And he said, nah, we need to move on. Those guys are getting towards that back end of their career. That downward slide is coming. There's no reason to give them these long extensions, which I think previous management may have done. So I think with Davidson, he has the eye towards the future. He has the emphasis on, the value that he's going to, the players that he's going to value as long-term pieces are the young guys, the fast guys, the skill guys, the guys that are likely going to be productive for the length of their contracts. It's, you're not bringing in Corey Perry on longer than a 1-year deal.
Right.
So
you look at Taylor Hall, and you feel like if this was the last regime, they may have already announced an extension with Hall.
Right. Yeah. once they're allowed
4 years,
to,
$5 million, and by the year 2 that you're like, what do we do here? What are we doing?
You can guarantee the last regime would have re-signed, at the very least, Kane.
Yeah.
Kane would already have a 4-year deal in his back pocket. You can guarantee that.
Definitely.
And we wouldn't have Connor Bedard because you wouldn't have blown it up.
Yeah, that's right. Last one here is push hard to improve, but don't sacrifice the future for now. And that's what we're talking about with Foligno, Hall, Perry, those kind of moves. You give away some draft picks. You give away some. I think there was a minor league player moved in one of those, right?
In where?
Oh, Mitchell was in the Mitchell and Regula were in the Hall and Foligno trade.
Yeah, but those are
yes.
They're not key pieces to your future.
They're not guys you're going to – I don't think you were going to look back one day and go, God, we should have never traded Alec Regula. I like Alec Regula.
Yeah, me too.
But I think he tops out at maybe a 6th.
Two third pair NHL defensemen.
Yeah. At their ceiling.
Yeah, that's the ceiling.
Likely, yeah.
Like, they probably have just as good chance of being – maybe even a better chance of being career AHL defensemen than playing 500 games in the NHL.
Right. Yeah.
So
I would think that could be the case. And if you have to part ways with guys like that, that's where your pro scouting staff makes a huge difference in the evaluation of your own players. Like, don't overvalue your guys in a league-wide spectrum because they're your guys. Like, you have to keep a realistic evaluation of them. And I know as fans, all of our prospects are the best prospects in the world. Coyotes, they have the best top prospect in the world, Logan Cooley. But you have your scouting staff, your coaching staff, management all has to keep a realistic vision of who the guys are that you have, and not just say, oh, well, we think he can be this, but around the league, you look at all the other players that are in other systems, how do they stack up? Is he actually, is Alec Regula actually a number 4 defenseman, or do you just hope that he is?
Right.
I think that's where, your pro scouting staff really has to be on key.
Well, and it also was a trade to get those guys more. Those guys have already been overtaken by a whole bunch of guys since they've been here.
Yeah.
Like when they first arrived, they were top 2 or 3 defensive prospects. Now, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Like, Del Mastro, Korchinski,
it's not
Allen,
getting better for them in Boston either.
Vlasic,
Right.
Kaiser, Phillips have all passed them up, and they're not getting that back here.
Right.
So it was more of, these guys could be nice players, but we got better guys coming, and let's give them a shot somewhere else. And Boston was just like, you kind of have to give us something for this.
Yeah. Well, it's not tradition that we would just kind of basically go through someone's entire article, but I think it's interesting perspective from someone as close to the Edmonton Oilers was able to just kind of go and say, here's the mistakes the Oilers made. And it is literally the opposite of what the Hawks are doing.
Yeah, it's the blueprint for McDavid was not was not going to succeed, and I think a lot of people outside of the Oilers organization could see that was going to be the case. And when everyone makes these arguments about, oh yeah, just getting a generational talent doesn't mean you're going to be a contender right away. The blueprint from the Oilers is exactly the reason that people believe that, because Connor McDavid, here he is, in going into year 8, 9 of his career, he's never played in a Stanley Cup final. He's played in one Western Conference final and didn't win a game. So, it takes more than just one player, and I think it's as the article lays out, it is a very, very valuable lesson that Blackhawks management can learn from, is that, yes, you have Bedard, and as Kyle Davidson has clearly stated, it doesn't end with Connor Bedard solely. Like, he needs there's going to need to be a lot of help and a team around him to make it work.
Well, look, there's no further evidence in that than right here. Is you had Patrick Kane, you got another one in Jonathan Taves, but those two alone, when all the help dried up, when the depth dried up, when it was those two
couldn't
and a
do
bunch
it.
of other guys, they couldn't make anything happen. And yeah, they were aging and there were other factors too, but like, what made those Hawks teams great was not just Kane and Taves. It was host of Keith Seabrook. It was all the depth they had accrued and developed and drafted and signed and traded for, and it all came together beautifully. Mm-hmm. And then the problem was when it came time for those reload guys to come, like we mentioned, Saad, Teravainen, you couldn't keep them because you had too many long, bad deals. And that's where you have to be careful.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of faith that Kyle Davidson will be careful. And he's just really a smart guy. So smart, in fact, that I wonder if he went to Lewis University.
I don't think he did. He's
he
from
have his pilot's
He's from
license?
Sudbury, so he might have went to college in Canada.
Is he Ivy League? He strikes me that way.
Does Lewis have a branch in Sudbury, Ontario?
I believe it does.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe it.
You can
I think
fly
it's
back and
Oak Brook,
forth.
Romeoville, and Sudbury, Ontario.
Yes.
Yes. But students just like you and Kyle Davidson, with full-time jobs, families, and full-time sports fandoms, are going back to school to earn their respective degree at my alma mater, Lewis University. It's 35 miles southwest of Chicago in Romeoville, and is ranked as one of U.S. News and World Report's top-tier colleges. Lewis partners with all sorts of employers for tuition discounts. You've got evening online classes, blended formats to help you get that balance. Every adult student is different. You need different things. Lewis is adaptable in that way, and their faculty brings real-world experience and instruction to the classroom, which is very, very helpful for someone looking to continue their education. They offer career support and academic resources for adult students. And if you're looking to complete your bachelor's or master's degree or enroll a professional certificate program, go to lewisu.edu/youcandothis and take a look at some of the programs they offer, like criminal justice, public safety, data science, computer science, cybersecurity, and business analytics. That's the grad programs. The adult undergrad are computer science, aviation maintenance technology certificates, business analytics, criminal justice, business programs, tech programs. Check it out, lewisu.edu/youcandothis, and discover how a degree from Lewis can help you build a better world. Again, lewisu.edu/youcandothis.
And when you're looking to unwind after a long day of college courses, you need to hit up the Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, because they are your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. It is your one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs, no matter where you are on your cannabis journey. They offer easy online ordering and in-store pickup, and a great transparent loyalty program called the Sunnyside Rewards Program. Sunnyside has tons of in-house brands to choose from, no matter how you want your cannabis journey to go. You have the Mindy's, the best tasting gummy and chocolate edibles created by James Beard award-winning chef Mindy Siegel and Cresco Labs. They have the Good News gummies that also come with rechargeable vape pens, cart perfect for great moments with the crew. The High Supply, which offers quality weed that's always available. Buds are expertly grown, lab tested, and available in vape carts, vape pens, flower, which is old school marijuana, as you guys told me.
Yeah.
Popcorn, shakes, pre-rolls, shorties, and concentrates, and many, many more that you can find with the good people at Sunnyside. And through the month of August, head to sunnyside.shop and use the promo code CHGO25 at checkout, and you're going to get 25% off of your total order. That is one use per customer, not stackable with other promotions, but it's not only for new customers. Anyone can use our CHGO code. Again, that's CHGO25 at checkout when you go to sunnyside.shop and pick up everything you need to elevate your summer. Must be 21 or older or an Illinois medical card holder.
I was at the Schaumburg location this weekend. Lovely.
Nice.
Lovely time. Really stocked up. Great stuff. All right, we got a couple mailbag questions we didn't get to on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, so we're going to get to them today. I think we got 2 left, right, Steven?
Yeah, just 2. First one here from Roy Jackson. The Blackhawks have not had a Lady Byng Trophy winner since Stan Akita in 1968. Is this the year the drought ends? Who is the most gentlemanly player on the roster? Who can break the curse of crassness?
I know that's the trophy. Like, we're all dying.
I know that's the hottest trophy out there that you want to win. I will say this: in my NHL 23 franchise with the Blackhawks, I am heading into the 2029-2030 season, and Connor Bedard. Connor Bedard almost came out of my mouth.
Draft that kid.
Together.
Take him.
Connor Bedard is a reigning, defending three-peat Lady Byng winner. So,
I mean, I could actually see, not 3 in a row, but I could see him. I don't foresee him being a guy that racks up a lot of penalty minutes.
I don't know. 62 penalty minutes last year in 57 games.
Well, I mean,
Bit of a goon.
He's a total goon.
I mean, life is tough in Regina. Regina.
Not Regina.
Right.
Regina.
I don't know. I don't see him taking a lot of penalty minutes in the NHL. At least eventually, there may be a few stick penalties and holding penalties early in his career as he adjusts to the speed.
Sure.
But eventually, if he's got the puck all the time, how is he going to get penalties?
Carry it, slash a guy.
Right,
Like the hands
yeah.
of
I mean,
others.
it was like
The reverse slash.
I mean, it was like Patrick Kane rarely ever had. The only penalty Patrick Kane ever got was a high sticking penalty after a guy would strip the puck from him.
Right.
But if you've got the puck all the time, how are you committing penalties unless you're Andrew Shaw?
Ask Pavel Datsuk.
Right.
There you go. He always wanted to bang because he always had the puck.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't be called for holding if you have the puck.
Yeah. And Bedard definitely comes off as a guy who's not going to go out there looking to pick fights or start any, bad blood with any players. Because, I mean, obviously penalty minutes, but also how you act on the ice will affect, how people perceive you out there. I got to look this up real quick. I'll try and answer my own question. Is the Lady Byng voted on by writers or by the players?
I don't know. I don't think it's voted by players.
I think that's a writer's one. But the fun part
The
about
voting is conducted at the end of the regular season by members of the Professional Hockey Writers Association.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think they'll like to get some hardware in Bedard's hands quickly.
Well, you got the Calder Memorial Trophy.
I don't know, a top prospect in the world, Logan Cooley.
Yeah, Logan
That's
Cooley's
true.
going to
I mean,
destroy him.
as our friend of the program, Cam Robinson, did say, there is going to be a pretty good rookie class this season, but Bedard is still head and shoulders the leader of it. But I think that's potential hardware that could be going into his trophy case pretty soon. Lady Byng could be out there. Down the road, maybe a Rocket Richard.
There's at least 5 or 6 hearts waiting for him.
Yeah.
My favorite part about the Stan Akita and the Lady Byng was in 1963-64, Stan Akita had 146 penalty minutes. The following season, he had 154 penalty minutes.
It's not very gentlemanly.
The year he won his first Lady Byng, so we're talking 2 years after those back-to-back seasons, 1966-67, he had 12. The following year, 14. So he completely
changed his game.
I think it coincides also when they realized when he, famously broke his stick in practice but kept it and then realized, if I curve the stick, I could shoot it really fast right at the goalies who aren't wearing masks head and I'll probably get a lot more goals.
Yeah.
I think that coincides, the timing with that.
I can tell you specifically what happened. It's in my book.
I was going to say, there's a story about
Sam Akita's daughter said to him, "Why are you always sitting over there in the penalty box and not sitting with your friends?"
Yep.
His daughter was, I think, 5 years old at the time, and he looked at her and decided to change the way he played after that. That's it. That's the story. His daughter said, "How come you're always not sitting with your friends at the game?"
Yeah.
And he said, "You know what? You're right. I'm not sitting with my friends at the game. I'm going to stop doing that. And I'm going to I have the rough draft in my book here. See if I can find it.
The most penalty minutes that a player has accrued that has won the Lady Byng in, let's say, the last 100 years that have actually played more than, the original 6 amount of games is Wayne Gretzky in 1992. He had 34 penalty minutes. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the type of award that you look at the list, you look at the guy who's got the fewest penalty minutes that played in a regular role.
Yeah.
Usually it's a skilled guy.
High points, low penalty minutes, and low Pudwackdom, usually.
Yeah.
I know Bobby Hall has a Lady Byng, but usually.
So here's the quote from Sam Akita. He says, his daughter said, quote, "When the guy with the stripes on his shirt blew the whistle, why did you have to skate all the way on the other side of your friends to sit alone? Why did you do that, Daddy? Didn't you like those players?" Makita responded, "Well, honey, that meant Daddy did something bad and he had to go sit out for 2 minutes. Her reaction made me stop and think, if our baby daughter sees this and feels something is wrong, why can't I?"
Such an innocent child thing to say.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
It's a cool story.
See,
That's a great story.
there's hope for all Pudwacks out there. You can turn it
There are.
around and stop going to the penalty box.
You can change.
Yeah.
We all can change.
That's right. Tell him, Rocky Balboa. All right, next one. Last one.
All right, this one from Cole Wyatt. Which movie scene makes you misty-eyed every time you watch it? For me, it's the old Private Ryan at the end of Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
That's a good
There's
one.
many moments in Saving Private Ryan
I cry a
that
lot
do
at
that.
movies. I'm not afraid to admit that.
Yeah.
Oh, I mentioned It's a Wonderful Life yesterday.
That movie gets me every time.
I'm crying the entire movie. From the minute the bell sounds to start the movie till the end, it's just varying. It's like there's a spigot,
Yeah.
and it just changes in intensity. But as soon as Harry Bailey comes home from war and everyone's dumping out their money to save the building and loan, as soon as Harry Bailey comes in, it's over.
yeah.
It's over. Forget it.
Any movie that involves a dog dying,
Oh God!
I'm wrecked for days.
Don't see I Am
I-
Legend if you haven't.
For days. Yeah, no.
Oh my
Horrible.
God!
Turner and
Horrible.
Hooch scarred me as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I know that happens in the movie and is like a significant storyline, I avoid the movie. Like
Don't watch Chernobyl either.
Oh yeah.
I knew it was coming and I skipped those scenes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've watched that miniseries twice.
Yeah.
And fast forward
Skipped
through
it
all
both
of it.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marley and Me. I know the plot. I'm not gonna watch it.
No. Yeah, if there's a movie where it's focused on a dog, you're like, the dog's going to die at the end, and I can't handle that.
Right.
I don't even watch those movies. Like, I don't care if people die in movies.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me.
The more the better, actually.
Yeah. You kill off a dog, you ruin my month.
Yeah. Exactly.
Child get hit by a car, don't care.
Yeah, it's fine.
Whatever, they'll get another
That
one.
was probably a mannequin.
Yeah. But yeah, the horse scene from Neverending Story ruined
Oh,
my childhood.
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Oof.
That still
That's
gets me.
that's so
not
hard.
misty-eyed. That's not
Fight
mis-
against the
that's-
sadness.
That's full on blubbering like a
That's such
yeah.
a hard scene. Anything like that where it's like
Again, it's
the
death of
feeling
an
of like
animal.
the helplessness. You're just like, oh, it just rips at you. Even
All right.
even inanimate objects. When Wilson floats away from Tom Hanks.
yeah.
Oh man, that's so
I
rough.
years ago they redid it in American version. I think what is it, Man Named Otto or something with
Yeah.
Tom Hanks.
Yep.
But it was originally done about 10 years ago, a Swedish version.
Swedish film. Yeah.
It's based on a book, and I watched the Swedish version, and oh my God,
Yeah.
well, so sad.
That's Frederick Bachman, is the author of A Man Named Ove, which is what
Yeah,
the movie's
Man
based
Named
off.
Ove, yeah.
He wrote a couple hockey-based books called Beartown that are excellent. So if you liked that, Beartown's really good. And that was actually adapted into a television series too. I want to say HBO.
It's based on. That's what Shoresy is based on.
No, it's a lot more serious than that. It's not.
Beartown.
It's not a pleasant watch.
Is that where
but it's
the
good.
Give Your Balls a Tug came from? The Bear
No,
book?
it was a little
It's called
worse
Bearstown.
than that.
Bearstown.
Beartown.
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 Rhymes
Yep.
with Bear
I'll
Down.
have to check it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is a Beartown, so you should enjoy it.
I this morning had a misty-eyed moment. My daughter loves the Toy Story series of animated films, and as I did as a child and as an adult. And this morning she specifically asked for Toy Story 2. So I said, all right, we'll turn on Toy Story 2, have our breakfast and everything. And I was telling you guys before the show started, she is in this phase where she wants to listen to like the sad songs from Disney movies.
I feel that.
And so in Toy Story 2, the character Jessie, played by Joan Cusack.
Hold on. Spoilers coming.
Yeah, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Toy Story 2. She has a song that's very sad about her original owner eventually, growing out of toys and stuff. And I know it's coming. I've seen this scene for 20 years or whatever, however long it's been. And every time that Sarah McLachlan song starts, where it's just like, when somebody loves you, I'm just like, don't cry in front of your daughter. Like, it's so sad. So sad. Because I remember as a kid seeing Toy Story and everything and wanting that to be true. Like, oh, if I close my bedroom door, will all my toys start playing and stuff?
Oh, God, you're young.
Like, I always remember that. And then I remember, like, that feeling of, like, growing out of your toys.
Yeah.
And, like, you don't think about it as a kid. You're like, oh, these are my old toys. Toss them in the basement. Toss them in the attic. Donate them, whatever. But then you see Toy Story as an adult, and you're like, oh, man, my toys. Like, it's just such a... Disney does a really good job of the sad moments in films. I will say that.
They've got a good formula.
They have a long history of that.
Yes,
They've been doing that long before any of us were around.
But you're right, though. Like, scenes like that, you could see them 1,000 times, and it doesn't... I see It's a Wonderful Life at least once a year.
Yeah.
We go to the Music Box on Southport there, and they do it like old-timey theater with the organ playing and everything.
Oh, that's
the
cool.
whole experience. And I never... Honestly, God, as soon as those bells chime to start the movie, single tear comes, and as it goes, just up and down, up and down. It's...
I remember the Macaulay Culkin funeral scene in My Girl got me when I saw that.
That's rough.
And now...
Wait, kids can die?
And now I can't get enough of the bee memes on the internet. I love those. Stacy gets so mad at me.
It eases the pain, though.
They are funny.
It eases your pain. It's comedy. Tragedy plus time equals comedy.
I will go like hours on end searching for new My Girl bee memes because I can't get enough.
They're great. All right, we got to wrap things up, but before we do, we want to remind you, tickets are going fast for the CHGO Kickoff Classic golf outing. Friday, August 25th at Cog Freaking Hill.
Yeah.
CHGO, Big Drive Energy, and Pins and Aces are hosting the inaugural Kickoff Classic, not the first annual Kickoff Classic golf tournament at Cog Hill, course number 2, 9 a.m., not p.m., as I said the other day, according to my dad, on August 25th.
It's night golf.
Your entry fee includes 18 holes with a cart, an exclusive Pins and Aces tee gift, access to our limited edition Pins and Aces CHGO Polo, hole contests, giveaways, all kinds of great stuff, lunch, drinks, and a ceremony after the round. It's going to be an awesome time. AllCHGO.com. Navigate over to the events page and click on the Kickoff Classic tab and join us. And, of course, if you're a diehard, you will get a deal. You'll get your discount. So jump on there, AllCHGO.com.
If you love the look of that CHGO Pins and Aces crossover polo, which, I mean, who wouldn't? I have been told that they will be in stock at the golf outing for that is the access that we are getting to them. So if you're not at the golf outing, but you want one of those polos, should have been at the golf outing.
Venmo me $200. I'll get you one.
Game worn.
That's
got sweat and mustard on it.
Yeah, sweat under boob sweat. Yeah, it's the real thing. That's how we were able to get Cog Hill. Actually, they're having us play at 9 p.m. instead of 9 a.m.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's the only way they let
we're
us
actually
on the
just
course.
sneaking.
I did
in
night
when
golf
it's
once. I know we're running late. I did night golf once, and it was cool because you're hitting like those glowing balls.
Yeah.
But then the dude I was in a golf cart with, we went over a hill and just missed going into a river or going into water because you can't see. It's pitch black out. There's no lights.
You gotta have like headlamps.
We should have had headlamps, yeah. But it was our first time doing it, and he comes over the hill and just jams on the brakes, and we stopped maybe 2 inches short of where the water hits the grass. Oof. It would have been ugly.
Well, we are in fact playing in the daytime, and the perfect thing you need, because it's going to be a bright, sunny August day when we hit Cog Hill.
It better be.
Go visit our friends at Shady Rays and place your order in now for multiple pairs of their great polarized sunglasses. And I guarantee you will get them well before we tee off at 9 a.m. on the 25th. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we have worn. Durable frames, extremely clear optics for your outdoor adventures, like golfing at Cog Hill with us. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection on all the eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. So in case Jay does actually drive you into a water hazard and you lose your sunglasses, they're going to send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. You can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. And together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much-needed support to nonprofit partners across the U.S. through Shady Rays Impact, from building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with MS the outdoor adventure of a lifetime. Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others like it now and for years to come. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, but I assure you you're going to, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. And exclusively for our listeners, maybe you've heard of this deal before, Shady Rays is giving you 50% off all orders containing 2 or more pairs of sunglasses over at shadyrays.com. All you have to do is enter the promo code CHGO at checkout. Save big-time bucks for your big-time sunglasses that have been rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
Big-time
and
bucks.
Real quick before we sign off for the day, I just want to give a shout-out to the person who shouted at me at the Bruce Springsteen concert last night, walking to my seats. Somebody said, "Hey, Greg Boyson." I turned around and acknowledged, and the gentleman said, "I'm a big fan, thank you." And I was like, okay, cool. That stuff still weirds me out, but I just wanted to give another thank you to whoever that was. I didn't get a name. He didn't take a picture of me.
Of just you.
No, he
like
just gave me just wanted me to know that he was a fan of the show, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, if you do that to us, we don't know how to react.
No.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey.
But, I gave him a thumbs up and said thank you, and then was walking away. I go, that's so odd. Like,
It is
something
it
that's
is such
never
a
going
weird
to.
such a weird experience.
And then I spent the whole show sitting 5 seats away from Duncan Keith.
And how many people recognize him?
0. So
Well,
I beat Duncan Keith. More people
therefore,
recognize
there you go.
me.
Therefore, Greg is
I'm the
more
only-
popular than Duncan
I'm the only
Keith.
guy that, I recognize him, but I didn't. Nobody bothered him. That was cool. He was there with his
Yeah.
son. They were enjoying the show. So that's a good free. Hey, Austin Matthews, you can come to a Bruce Springsteen concert. No one's going to know who
No
the
one's
hell
gonna
you
bug
are.
you. Yeah.
Can't do that in Toronto.
Just keep your pants on. Just do a check topic, I always said, and just wave to a section. When you're at an event, just wave to a section. That way you're not upsetting anyone.
I'm not going to the Czech Kopic School of Pudwack.
Got to get Roosevelt to make like floor-length mink coats like Chet used to wear. What a time to be alive. All right, let's wrap things up. We're back tomorrow with more hockey. Hopefully the Athletic writes something we can steal again.
Hopefully Scott
Somebody
Powers
call us out in the chat too. Like,
Hey, feel free to program a mid-August hockey
August
podcast.
10th. It's August 10th. We do 5 a week.
Yes, we're hoping Scott Powers drops another article between now and then,
Yeah.
so we can. Have a
not
show.
very Christian of you, Christian Chambers.
I think he actually deleted that comment on the YouTube chat.
All right, fair enough.
Well.
We don't care.
Screenshots.
We're
live
not hiding
forever.
it. We talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah. I said it right.
Every
Welcome
once
to the
in a
first
while-
3 minutes of the show, dude. Checking in on time.
Every once in a while, you just break the paywall. Sorry. Some people have done it to us. So whatever.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you Friday at 2 on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.